Hey guys, welcome to Saints Game Talk. Saints coming off a 38-27 win over the Indianapolis Colts. Saints finally look like an NFL team after weeks of looking like Colorado, basically, with the coverages and the breakdowns and all that kind of stuff. But let's go over the stats quickly. The Saints are now 4-4 and tied for first in our division with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Saints had 511 total yards to the Colts 371. Saints had 350 passing yards to the Colts 207. Saints had 161 rushing yards to the Colts 164. Saints had one fumble. The Colts had one interception. Saints had 8 penalties for 73 yards. Colts for 6 for 30, and the Saints went 6 of 12 on third down, whereas the Colts went 7 of 16. So, question is, fool's gold or ready to make a run? Pipe, what's your thought at the end of the game in 10 words or less?
Can I give you 12 words? I'm still not sold on Carr and Carmichael. I need more consistency.
Word. And Sam?
That's the sentiment of the day. Very nice performance. We need to see it consistently.
In other words, there's an old song from it's actually a movie, soundtrack to a movie by the Staple Singers called Let's Do It Again. See if we can do it again. Pipe, what you liked on offense?
Better play calling, better execution. I think we had better use of Kamara, Thomas, Taysom, and Shaheed. But still too many pre-snap penalties.
And look, I want you to hold off on that because I'm going to ask you what you didn't like. Sam, what you liked about the offense?
The offensive line play was much improved. It was probably the best performance this season. Yeah.
And Sam,
of course,
was there anything that you saw or you have been seeing that's made that so?
The only thing that I can point to is the change in personnel. Moving Pete out to left tackle has stabilized that position. I thought that he would be competent. I didn't think he would be much better than competent, but he is. And the other shuffles due to injury and whatnot at left guard have seemed to work out pretty well because we've gone from being absolutely horrible at pass protection, actually pretty decent. And the run blocking on a number of plays, I know you guys saw those big, gigantic holes that Kamara had on a couple. Now, you have to be a skillful runner to take advantage of those. But he had some nice places to run, and so did Taysom Hill.
Let me ask you a question. When we drafted Pete, wasn't he a tackle when we drafted him?
I believe you're correct. I can't say 100%, but yeah, I believe you're correct. And they moved him inside to guard because we were set at tackle at the time. But he was such a good player, or they thought he was such a good player, and the kind of guy you wanted on your team. That they were like, yeah, we got to have him. We can make him a guard for sure.
So yeah, they thought he was going to be the next Saints great tackle. Pipe.
Yeah.
What you didn't like offensively?
Well, I go back to the pre-snap penalties. Certain plays by the quarterback again. Other than that, I mean, it probably was Carr's best game, I would say. I don't know if y'all agree with that. But
I would.
Yeah, he I mean, you ain't too much you could say about it, the offense this week in a negative light,
Gotcha. And Sam, what you didn't like about the offense?
Not a whole lot negative. Like I said, anytime you put up 38 points, that pretty much points the way to a solid performance. Now, It was a little disappointing that they couldn't put that last drive in the end zone. But that's picking nits. I will say this to those who are saying, you see, y'all were all over Carr last week and this, that, and the other. But this is exactly what you get from Carr. You get a lot of mediocre, a little bit of absolutely horrible, and a little bit of absolutely great. If you look back on his history with the Saints, playing against the Saints for the Raiders, you had that game where he and that tight end,
Not
can't think of
Waller,
his
huh?
name.
Waller.
Darren Waller, yeah, tore up the Saints. This is during the pandemic year. They played in the first time the Saints played at the Raiders' new stadium.
I remember that.
And they wore the Saints out. I believe it was either a Sunday night or a Thursday night game. And then the next year or a year after, whatever it was, 2 years later, they come here and the Saints shut them out. That was last year that they came here, and the Saints shut them out. And Carr was absolutely horrendous. So this is what you get. This is the problem with Carr, that he has not in the past been able to put performances like this last one together back to back. Now he missed some wide open receivers now, and he missed Chris Olave wide open once, and Chris lost one in the lights and ended up basically dropping one. So it wasn't perfect,
Now,
but
when you said
damn good enough.
Which one is the one that Olave was open and the ball hit him in the face mask?
It was kind of late in the game. He was going down the field and looking up over his shoulder, and I believe he came back to him on the very next play. And on that play, Carr, airmailed the ball like 20 feet over his head.
Yeah, it was.
And it didn't look like there was any pressure or anything that caused that. So, but like I said, it's kind of an encapsulation of what you get, that pass that a lot of it kind of messed up or lost in the lights, however you want to put it. That was almost a perfect pass. So it would have been had he been able to pick it up. The other one, I'm going, how the heck you missed that one, and missed it so badly.
So let me ask you guys a question. Do you think Olave went from being the best player on the offense to going through a sophomore slump? So is this something that you guys think he's going to shake out of? Is this a normal thing for a rookie who's had a big year, or there's something else going on?
Well, I think that given everything that happened previous week, him and Carr having that high-profile dispute right there in public, and then him getting arrested for speeding, that all had to kind of be unsettling. And I think maybe he had not been as focused as he needed to be. Maybe reading a few of his own press clippings. If you remember, he made a big catch earlier in the season, diving catch. He wasn't touched. He got up and spun the ball, and we were lucky enough that ball went out of bounds, because that could have ended up being a fumble. So, a little bit of, maybe, I hate to say immature, he's a grown man, but, maybe a little bit of growing up needs to happen. Or let's say it this way, maybe an increase in seriousness needs to happen with him.
And I think, too, man, last year people didn't have NFL tape on you. Now they do. And so what a lot of young guys don't realize is that, just like in the NBA, man, you've got to add levels to your game.
I think he's been doing. I haven't seen anything that the opponents have been doing. I've seen is mostly him doing it to himself, and maybe him and Carr not being on the same page. Now, that could be a lack of study. I did read something from one of the media members that said the coaches had taken note that 30 players did not even touch their tablets to study game plans and study opponents. And last week, and that goes to what I've been saying in the last couple of weeks, that I'm seeing disorganized, unprepared players out there.
And that's really surprising, because coming into the season, I really thought that we had a team that was just filled with veteran leadership. Pipe, what's your take on Olave?
I think it's maybe him and Carr not being on the same page on in several games on several occasions. It could be a lack of being studious and studying his playbook. He could be not really motivated off the field stuff. But I just right now is like Sam said, it's nothing that no other teams are doing. He's an excellent route runner. It's just I guess concentration, and because sometimes from his reputation from last year, which he had an excellent year, teams are maybe playing over top on him and the Heat, and then Thomas running underneath. So a lot of these defensive coordinators gonna be pulling their hair out their head once the Saints figure it out with all the weapons they got. But I think Olave will be fine.
Very good. Another question, guys. Who was your offensive MVP this week? A lot of guys contributed. Oh, before we get to that, how much was the Saints' productivity tied to Indianapolis's defensive standing or lack thereof?
Well, I mean, the coach here and just watching Sunday, I mean, they have some decent players on defense. I like the linebacker, but like I said, our offense was superior to their defense. So, I mean, I expected the Saints to play at least, better than they had been playing. Was I looking for 38 points? No, I think that's what the score was. I wasn't looking for that, but the Colts, I think they're just a work in progress.
Right. They're kind of in a rebuilding state. Seth, who's your offensive player of the week?
I'm gonna give it to the obvious Shaheed. 3 catches, 150 yards, and impact plays each and every one of them. I think if they didn't know who he was before this, they know now. It's just and listen, and he's just he's a polished receiver. I know they were only looking for him to do returns and whatnot, but he's a growing receiver. But you see, he's capable of having that polish put on him, and he's running a lot of different routes and doing a lot of different things. I'm excited to see what he does next. There was some I can get into a little bit later if you like, some detail on his route running.
Okay.
That I'm sure that they worked on in practice, as far as when they incorporated into the game plan.
I will
For
say,
instance,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They before up until this week, all of their deep routes, the release was always to the outside, the upside, and they've hit some that way. On that last one in particular, he kind of gave a jab step, but he took right off to the inside and went around. He stacked the defensive back almost immediately, and he released to the inside and was open all the way. It was so beautiful the way they did it. He let that defensive back have the outside, and he just said, "Okay, I'll take it." And he's so fast, right. It's incredible. So everything kind of broke inside. The touchdown pass broke inside. The pass that Taysom Hill threw to him broke inside, and the subtle break to the inside was straight up the sideline, stacking that DB. He broke to the inside. That comes from scouting themselves, I think, coming back to it and doing something a little different than what they were expecting, and it paid off big time.
I just wanted to say, out of all the guys we've had in that position that are usually return men / wide receivers over the years, Bierman, Hartley, we can go back to Tyrone Hughes. He is the most skilled from a wide receiver point. that I've seen.
Yep, I completely agree.
Pipe, well, you sound like you're about to chime in.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with what you just said about Shaheed.
Okay. Pipe, who was your offensive MVP?
Well, I'll go with Shaheed. Just touch on some of the other guys. I think this probably was Carr's best game, and Carmichael's as far as play calling. I think the red zone offense was better. The play calling utilized our skilled player strengths. Example, Thomas was getting some back shoulder and slants. Finally, Kamara was running option routes out the backfield. I think that blocking scheme on his touchdown run was excellent because that hole was open, and he just used his natural ability to with balance and running.
Mm-hmm.
Hill's runs were better and timely. The use of Williams, Miller, Alave, Shaheed, the Saints are coming up with the times. I like when they put 99 in there on short yardage. I think that was great. The mini fridge or the mini freezer.
Absolutely. Is that Saunders, right?
Yes.
Jalen Saunders, number 99 or 95?
99, yes.
99. DT.
Yeah, I like to see him get a handle one game. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he said he played running back. He played running back, full pack.
But I know one thing: you don't want to be sitting on that other side of the ball when that joker coming at you.
No, not at all. Defensively, Sam, what did you like?
Well, I like that they tightened it up in the second half. I'm trying to figure out what the slow starts are about, but I like that they did allow those 2 long runs early in the game or in the first half, but they didn't continue to allow them to run, or at least what they put a big enough stop on them to discourage them from running more. I think that they would have had more success had they run more, but I'm going to go ahead on and credit the Saints defense for stiffening up enough so that they discouraged them from trying.
Well, I tell you what, they ran 24 times for 164 yards for a 6.8 average. And quite frankly, Jonathan Taylor is one of the best young backs in the league. He is who he is.
And that cat Moss, who was filling in while he was out,
Zach Moss,
has made a name for himself as well. And so yeah, and both of them had runs over 20 yards.
Absolutely.
In this game. So,
Pipe, what's your take? What you liked defensively?
The pass defense was outstanding. Run defense, a little suspect. Tackling, a little suspect. But I guess we could go into that on the other side. But yeah, like Sam said, the second half was a whole lot better than the first quarter, at least.
And that pivots me to what you didn't like defensively specifically.
What I didn't like, the run defense, giving up 6.8 yards a carry. That's ridiculous. Some tackling, still an issue. I guess a lot of teams around the league are dealing with that because of how you have to practice now and the way to set up with the players union and everything, and penalties. Right. Man, they keep an opponent's drive alive at very bad times in the game.
It's always the worst times.
Yes.
It's not the number. I mean, I still think, it seems like the last couple of weeks we've been averaging about 75, 80 yards a game. That's still
we lead the league in penalty yardage though.
That's what I'm saying. 7, 8 penalties a game. You got to cut that down in half. Sam,
yeah, especially those pass interference penalties, and I mean, which to me some of them are kind of suspect. Throw the red flag out there on some of them. I think a lot of them would be overturned. I mean, that's just me.
Yep. So Sam, you want to chime in?
Yeah, we could do a little bit better on pass rushing as well. Now we get get it sometimes. It's not consistent. We don't get consistent heat on the passer. But yeah, we a more consistent pass rush would be would be nice. Would add to the defense, and I'm not sure what the issue is. We've had 3 games now in a row where the defense has not played up to their level in the first half of the game. They tightened up, but it's something we need to look at as far as what's going on in the first half.
Absolutely. Pipe, special teams, anything caught your eye, good or bad?
That punter, man, he got to go. But Rashid is the real deal, man. I'm waiting for him to break another one.
Yeah, I think he's at the end of the season. He's going to have at least 2 or 3 of them combined. And what about you, Sam? Any special team notes?
Pretty much the same. The Groupie hopefully is settling in. One of his extra points were closer than they needed to be as far as getting close to the upright. And I'm going, man, this guy probably needs to go to a sports psychologist or something, because clearly he has the ability. He has the leg strength. He appears, at least outwardly, to have a cool demeanor. So, but I don't know what it is, why he's having the issues that he is with makeable kicks. And let's not overstate it. It's not terrible, but at the same time, it needs to get better.
Absolutely.
And of course, I'm with Piper on. I've been from day one. We need a new punter. This dude does not give us enough hang time. So.
Gotcha. We are unofficially, maybe officially, at the midpoint of, used to be easy when we had 16 games. Now we got 17 games. So just keeping with conformity, I consider after the first 8 games mid-season, let's give out some mid-season grades. Counting what happened this weekend, but also a cumulative of the season. So, Pipe, offense, mid-season grade.
Oh, mid-season grade offense. Wow. I'm gonna say C+.
I agree with you, Sam.
Oh, that's a difficult grade out, because I really, in relation to expectation, the quarterback, I'd have to give a D-. The offense as a whole, because they've come through, because they've made some big plays and they're showing promise, I give the offense as a whole a C. Yeah.
Pipe, defense.
Defense, I'll give them a B+.
I give them a B-. Sam.
I'm going to give them a flat B. I think that they a more consistent pass rush, and we need to figure out what the problem is coming out of the gate, or if it is a problem, or maybe offenses have just scouted us very well and have figured out some vulnerabilities that we then have to backtrack and cover up. And gotta give them credit, they've done it. But again, if we want to go to the next level, if we want to go to the playoffs, we're going to have to fix that. So yeah, I'll give them a B.
Yeah,
Okay.
we gotta show up that run defense for sure.
Absolutely. Pipe, special teams grade.
Special teams, I'm gonna go flat B. Yeah, I'm gonna go flat B. I'm not gonna take away from them just for the punter. I mean, he did get one on there, I think, inside the 10 Sunday. So
I'll give him a B-. Sam.
I'm gonna give him a C-, and it's because of the punter.
Okay.
I kind of look at it, and it's in anticipation. Keep having these punts that have no hang time. That is going to bite us at some point. Is it unfair to to ding him because it's something that hasn't happened, but a clear deficiency that we have all seen fight all kinds of teams when you have low, quick punts. I mean, we're accustomed to having coverage guys right on a punt returner just as he's catching the ball. If we're still 10 yards away, man, that just opens up a horrible. That opens up horrible possibilities.
In
even
the words
with
of Dion,
average, even with average kick returns. Yeah, exactly.
Let me change my grade on that. I'm gonna change it to C, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. I'm changing it to C
because Sam Jedi mind tricked you with his negativity.
No, it's not. It's not the punt returner. It's the fake punt. First, we should have never got beat on no fake punt, especially the time and distance where they was at in the game. I mean, most coaches going for it once they cross that 50. And then also lining up over the center on a penalty. Well, yeah, it did because they gave them a first down, I believe.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, and they ended up scoring a touchdown. Yeah,
so that's why I'm changing my grade to a C.
Gotcha.
Okay, and I'm gonna say this about what you mentioned. Oh, the fake punt. I looked at that again, and that gunner, he actually put a nice move on. He was making like he was going down there to gun. He brought it inside towards the returner, and he cut him out. And there was almost no way for the defensive back or the protected back to stay with him unless he was absolutely expecting that. So it was nicely executed, is what I'm gonna say. And the other one was, what was it we were talking about? The
lining up over the center.
Lining up over the center. When I looked at that on the replay, I'm like, because I was like, man, how the hell you do that? You know, he must have had like maybe an inch of his shoulder pad over the center. That was so ticky tack. I was like, man, but you gotta.
I get that because I looked at it too, and I rolled it back. You know, I looked at it. I said, man, that's really, really being picky. But I mean, it is what it is. You can't line up in that area.
Yeah.
That sounds like a coaching thing too. Where a coach said, "Hey, man, look at that guy. He's lining up a little bit, illegally." A lot of times the coaches will go to the reps and say, "I want you to look at this."
Yeah, well, they say football is a game of inches, so hey.
Yeah. It definitely. He wasn't head up on him or anything like that. And if you, at first glance, it looks like, man, he was not over him. But then you look back over, like, okay, an inch of the shoulder pad. Really, you call it an inch of the shoulder pad. But by the letter of the law, it was a correct call. So,
speed and speed.
You know what, Sam? In that instance, I want consistency. Beautifully said. Absolutely. Yeah. I want it to be consistent on both sides of the ball, both sides of the court. You can't
and for the entire game. Yep, and for the entire game. Don't like start letting stuff go because no, this is late in the game or anything like that. Like you said, probably consistency.
Mid-season coaching grade, Pipe.
Mid-season coaching grade, dude. I'm gonna say a D.
Crickets.
And you want me to elaborate on that?
No, you don't have to. I think we've seen the results.
I really
if you
don't
want
think
to,
I have to. But
no, we've been harping over that over the last 8 weeks.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wanted Allen to get that opportunity. I think he deserved it. But that's a whole nother issue, another story. But I mean, if he could turn this thing around, who knows? But I don't like, because I had mentioned earlier to you, I sent you a text and asked you, should we talk about the Raiders, firing their coach and general manager almost midway through the season? I don't kind of believe in that. But, I mean, if it's the locker room's getting bad, I could see you doing that. But I don't think that would help the Saints situation a whole lot. But,
no,
I mean,
you're just adding, fuel to the fire at that point.
Yeah.
Sam, what's your coaching grade at the midpoint season?
F+. No, I can't give him an F I'll go with a D, a flat D. Um, I guess mostly because of expectation, but also because of some failures. As I talked about last week, I believe the reason that Carr was getting frustrated was because what Olave had been doing, he has not been held to account for it. And I believe Olave is doing what he's doing because Carr is hitting his back foot and then immediately taking the check down instead of going through his progressions. And that Carr has not been held to account for that. When you're not holding your players to account, okay, that's a leadership issue. I don't believe that he's that great a leader. And I will give them credit for taking this thing out of the fire, because after what happened last week and all the talk and all those things in time, that thing could have been a ball of fire rolling downhill, and we could be a damn flaming sewer by now. But they did hold it together, put together a good performance. They were professional. It seems like they faced what was going on, and they at least put it on stable ground for 1 week. Now, will this allow us to take advantage of what everyone in the league has said is a very weak schedule and win this division and make the playoffs? We don't know. We have inconsistency at quarterback, a guy who has shown us over a period of 8-9 years that he's not that guy. Can he do it now with Dennis Allen, who I don't think is the greatest leader, leading him? I don't think so, but I'm praying that I'm wrong. Okay, so a D to answer your question.
Okay,
a D.
my grade is a C. We're 4-4. That's average. I'm not going with the expectations because I expected. I think we all expect a little bit better, but so yeah, I give him a C. Moving on, Pipe. You sound like you were about to say something.
Yeah. I was gonna say. Sam was talking about Carr and his mediocrity. I was just thinking about something my cousin said after he was listening to the podcast. He would chime in on some of the things we talked about. To me, he'd be looking forward to it. Yeah, Ken. Shout out to Ken. Ken said he's a used car.
He's a used car.
Unreliable as hell.
Hey man, let's give Ken a shout out for faithfully listening to us every week.
Yeah, way to go, Ken. Yeah.
Mid-season offensive MVP. It's Pipe.
It's got to be Shaheed, man.
Sam.
Yeah, Shaheed. I was thinking Kamara, but when you miss the first 3 games, that kind of. So yeah, I'll go with Shaheed as well.
I would have said Kamara if he wouldn't have missed those 3 games.
My wild card is Taysom Hill.
Beautiful.
Taysom is my mid-season MVP. Mid-season
I like that.
defensive MVP, Sam.
Defensive MVP. I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Lattimore. He's played well. I was thinking about our third corner, who they moved to the slot, and young player who
not
played very
Taylor,
well.
Huh?
Yeah, Alontae Taylor,
okay.
who played very well on the outside, but then you move him to the slot, which is a very different position. Okay, in many ways harder to cover because you got a 2-way go on just about any. You
don't have the help of the
sideline. Right, and you're almost always covering these crossing patterns, which are hard to cover. And he has held up extremely well in those situations. You know what? I'm gonna say Alontae Taylor.
Pike,
Alontae Taylor.
Who's your defensive MVP at the midpoint of the
But
season.
then there's Big G.
I'm gonna go with Granderson.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's my choice.
He's consistent. 35
Hmm.
total tackles, 21 solo, 14 assists, 5.5 sacks.
Yep. 5.5.
Uh, 5.5 sacks.
Yeah, that boy balling. That boy
He
balling.
Hmm.
he to me he's the defensive MVP right now, this mid season right now.
Bam.
Now I got
You know what? I'm gonna agree with you because they were actually talking about, well, who's gonna play on side of Cam Jordan this year? This is gonna be terrible. We don't have anybody. And old boy said, "Hey, what about me? I'm doing it out here." So yeah, that's a great choice.
yeah,
Great
yeah.
choice. I agree with you
He's
guys.
he is the most to me he's the most consistent defensive player through these 8 games.
Hmm.
Bam. Bam. There you have it. Rookie. Mid-season rookie. I'll go first. Mine is Jordan Howden, the safety DB that we got from Minnesota, I think. That rookie been making plays all for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'll go with Howden. He had a damn good game Sunday.
And Sam.
I'm gonna go with Bresee.
Ah.
Because I'll tell you why he has. We know he at least can play, okay, and we the last 2 or 3 defensive linemen that we drafted, they have not played enough for us really even to make that determination. And I'm talking about Davenport and Peyton Turner. Uh, at least he's on the field, but he's not only that, he's making impact. He's got, I believe, 2 sacks and a couple of tackles for loss, and he's always there. Now he had that penalty that we talked about on special teams. Got to pay attention, rookie. But I like what he's done. I think he's going to be a bright spot for us, and in that position, that's a great thing. So him getting pressure up the middle, Granderson around the end. If we can manage to get a guy to step in for Cam, who's about my age, you know, yeah, football, but yeah, Cam's a war horse. So, but yeah, we be in good shape here. So yeah, I like proceed.
Yeah, I like that pick, Sam. Also,
Mhm.
I'm gonna do a quick what if. What if we would have decided that we really didn't need Davenport? We get what his name is, the one that's hurt again.
Peyton Turner.
Peyton Turner.
Peyton
Mhm.
Turner, a shot. What if we would have just said, "Hey, we're gonna give Hendrickson that money and let him come off that other edge with Granderson and Cam Jordan"? You think we'd have had something special?
Boy, look here. If only.
The fact that you're
If
asking
enough.
that question, you've answered it.
Yeah, and I, even with the 12 sacks, uh, my eyes were kind of blinded by what Davenport could be, and there Trey Hendrickson was showing us what he is. Now, people, there may have been a little bit of that. Well, they were paying attention to other players and whatnot, and that was why he did so well. But hey, he did it. 12 sacks.
Yeah, he did it consistently and a never ending motor. He's still playing like that, man.
Right.
Yes, he is.
Now,
Big impact in Cincinnati.
There you go, Izzy.
I want to segue a little bit off of that and ask you guys about something that happened during the game. Did you guys see the dust up between Jameis and Michael Thomas on the sidelines?
I saw the clip you sent. I'd seen it a little bit earlier, and it looked to me like Jameis was doing his thing, and I think what he's trying to do is be as helpful as he can to the team. And
Mike wasn't feeling it.
Mike wasn't feeling it at the
Come
moment.
on, man, let's go.
And,
You better than that.
right,
Whatever.
right.
And Mike's like, man, I don't need that shit.
yeah. Look, this is where you should have done this and not that. And Mike just wasn't in the mood at the moment. Don't think it was that big a deal, but I think it's a function of Jameis trying to be as helpful as he can.
Right.
He's a good teammate,
And,
and Mike just not feeling it at the time.
and speaking of environments, before we start talking about the Bears preview and all that kind of stuff, I want to get you guys' opinion on Colorado's trip to UCLA, where several players and coaches had their personal jewelry stolen. Pipe, what's your thoughts? My personal opinion is that it's a goddamn football game. Excuse my French. What the heck are you bringing thousands of dollars of gold jewelry for on a road trip? But go ahead, Pipe.
My thing is, I just heard about it when y'all had sent something over the text. Man, leave that stuff at home with your parents or something. That's player stuff you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I think even some coaches may have had some stuff too, but mostly it was the players that they focused on.
Why would you bring that? First of all, you in a hostile environment. You in a visitor's locker room. Why would you trust anything in there unless you got security sitting back there for you?
And normally I thought teams would
home,
leave
man.
one of their own guys in there for that purpose.
Yeah, leave that stuff at home. You ain't got to worry about all that.
Exactly, Sam.
I hate to see these young guys finally getting paid for their toil as a college football player. Everybody's earning money except them. Now they're earning good money. I hate to see
what are they
them
doing? They're
spending
throwing it away on jewelry.
Right.
As soon as you buy it, it
right.
depreciates.
Right.
You're in
I
Boulder,
hate to see them.
Colorado. Go buy some rental property and be it out for the next couple of years and make it pay for itself instead of that foolishness.
The cliche thing: go buy your parents a house if you can.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, it's the kind of thing where, these are young guys. They can set themselves into a position where they would have a whole lot less to worry about because they're setting up some passive income. And if football didn't work out, I'm not saying they're going to be wealthy, but they would have something, and they're missing that opportunity. And I'm disappointed that Dion isn't pushing that message to them. Well, maybe he is, and they're not hearing it. I don't know.
And also, too, I mean, I think he is pushing it, but also, too, part of his persona was that flash and that swagger.
Right.
And, one of the things that he says is,
hence the nickname Primetime.
Yeah, and one of the things that he says is that most of the gold that he bought back in the day was fake gold. He doesn't really believe in that. But it's funny, man. I've been around some rappers, some guys that are our age, a little younger, and they're out of that phase. But whenever they go do personal appearances or they go in concerts or they go into award shows, they bring out all the stuff because that's what the younger guys are attracted to. And I mean, there's, going back to the doo-wop eras, there's time, we've got years of stories of folks running through money, whether they were entertainers or athletes. And so there is a preface for, wasting money. And I get it, your first bag, you want to go do something for yourself. I get that. But I mean, come on, man. Really? You gonna get 20 grand and you 15, the first 20 grand you get, 15 grand of it, you're gonna go buy a chain? Come on, man. All right. I just need to rant.
Amen to that. Brother.
Bears preview. Pipe, what you see?
Okay, fellas. When the Saints play the Bears on Sunday, what version of the 2023 Saints will we get? The great, the good, the bad, or the ugly? Something has to give in this game. The Bears have lost 11 Sunday road games. However, the Saints have lost their last 4 games as a home favorite. I'm looking for the Saints to have a good performance against the Bears and gain a modicum, that's for Sam, of a dome field advantage. The Saints defense should feast on the Bears' weak offensive line, and I'm looking for a multiple sack game. And if the offense can continue to be productive, I'm looking for a big day for Camaro. I'm going to predict the Saints victory by 14 points. However, I'm not going to give you a score.
That's good enough for me, Pipe. Sam.
Yeah, look, going into these next 2 weeks is this kind of lines up good. Okay, so they had a very strong performance this past week. The Bears are a weak team, and their starting quarterback is out. They're in a bad place right now. So we should have a good, solid performance there. There's not going to be a lot of resistance to a good performance there. The next week, we have the Vikings, who just lost their starting quarterback. So we could put together these 3 solid performances that sets a good precedent. Then we have the bye week, and we can continue to work and rest and whatnot and continue to get them together and then come out and finish strong. This could be the start of something good. Let's see if for the first time in his career, Carr can put together a consistent streak to bring us into the playoffs.
For God's sake, can he put 2 games in a row back to back? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So we have an opportunity here. The Bears are the hard luck Bears.
Carr, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
yeah, I'm skeptical, man. I'm hard on you, yeah, but I am rooting for you.
Pipe, when does the injury report comes out? Every Thursday, or is it Friday?
Wednesday.
So Wednesday. The first report is Wednesday.
Okay. Let me see. Let me see if I can find injury report. Okay. So we got Michael Thomas, rest, illness, Andrews Pete, ankle, limited practice, Taysom Hill, hip, Jimmy Graham, rest, Ryan Ramczyk, rest, James Hurst.
It's not a bad report this week.
No, it's not. It looked like just a bunch of guys. They just give it a limited practice.
And this time of the year, everybody's kind of banged up a little bit. So.
Yeah, and the same with the Bears. They've got a couple of guys, with bruises and bumps and all that kind of stuff.
The biggest issue for the Bears is Justin Fields and Edmonds on defense, the linebacker that used to play for the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, I've got some trivia. It's not exactly Saints trivia, but local trivia. What former LSU player scored his 100th NFL touchdown this past weekend? Scored his 100th NFL touchdown this weekend.
A wide receiver or running back?
Neither.
Either? He said neither?
Yes, sir. Sam, you want to take a shot at it before I give you the answer?
Is it Joey Burrow?
Yes, sir. He has 90 touchdown passes and 10 rushing touchdowns. And what this is what, third, fourth year?
I think fourth.
Fourth year?
Yeah, I have a Saints trivia.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here we go. Who wore number 9 when he first played for the Saints? When he returned, he wore number 12. He is famous for leading the Panthers to the first Super Bowl, and he is a Louisiana native.
Jake
Delhomme.
There you got it.
Booyah. And on that, guys, we're going to call this a day. You have been listening to Saints Game Talk with T. Rose, G-Man, Sam Robb, coming off of a victory week. Who that?
Who that?
Who that, baby?